Major milestone. It happened yesterday. The Senate confirming its 200th judge under the Trump administration. Judge Carrie will fill the last vacancy on the U.S. Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, marking the first time in 40 years it'll be without an open seat. So what impact will the president's appointees have on the judiciary as a whole and down the line? Joining us now to discuss it, Policy Director for Judicial Crisis Network and former clerk to Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas, Carrie Severino. Carrie, first off, why were there so many vacancies, and how unique is it that the president filled them all?
Well, the president did come into office with more vacancies than 4 of his 5 predecessors. That was pretty impressive. A lot of people thought Obama, especially early on in his presidency, wasn't moving on the judges as fast as he should have been, and he left a lot of vacancies for Trump. This has been one of the crowning achievements of this presidency, is filling those vacancies, and especially the appellate court, because that's where 99% of cases end. They don't mostly get to the Supreme Court. So these are really important decisions being made, and he has made it his hallmark to have people who are brilliant, have great experience, but also who are courageous and principled, who know how to stand up for what they know is the correct legal result, even when it's going to get political pushback. And those now are the men and women who are going to be populating much of his Supreme Court shortlist, the new one that he's going to announce in September. So it's an incredible bench to be choosing from.
Right, and if he gets another 4 years, he's going to have Supreme Court seats to fill. Logic would say. Let's take a look comparing to other presidents. President Trump with 200, as we mentioned. President Obama 144. President Bush 43, 195. Bill Clinton 188. Let's move and talk about a big decision that came down yesterday. An appeals court voted by a 2-to-1 margin for the judge to delay for Michael Flynn to have his DOJ verdict fulfilled and have him free of charges. Where does this stand?
Yeah, so that opinion was by Naomi Rao, who was one of those 200 judges. She was one of the appointments that Trump had to the D.C. Circuit. And this means that the decision is going to be vacated because the DOJ has simply dropped those charges. What Judge Rao said is there is no legal reason, there's no constitutional reason to be able to continue this case, do it as Judge Sullivan was trying to do, bringing in any ideas. Please give me an idea why we continue this case. No, DOJ has dropped it. Flynn needs to be given his justice now that DOJ has recognized the politicization of that prosecution has to stop. And good for Judge Rao in making that decision. Again, this is why those judicial appointments are so important.
But, Carrie, we've been surprised before with Emmett Sullivan every step of the way, for including his berating Michael Flynn last time he was in front of him. So what moves does he have left?
You know, I think some people will probably petition this to go en banc on the D.C. Circuit. That could make it challenging simply because the numbers on that circuit are not good for the originalist, textualist judges. That's a circuit that Obama was able to pack when he was president. So a lot of those are Obama nominees, including the one dissenting judge in this opinion. So it may be that it's going to go back to the en banc court, but I would hope that you'd see even some of those judges be able to recognize this politicization of this prosecution is really out of place. And then, you know, failing that, the Supreme Court.
The Supreme Court says they could ask for a vote from the entire appeals court, or then they would go to another court.
Yes. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So unfortunately, it's dragging this prosecution on so long for something that we now know was politically motivated in the first place.
As long as maybe for a change, Judge Sullivan will do the right thing. We'll have to see. Carrie Severino, thanks so much.